I wanted to ask you about how you found the dating scene so far.
The dating scene in Dubai. The dating scene in Dubai is a minefield. And I, luckily, feel that I'm experienced enough and smart enough to navigate it very, very well. But I can't imagine just being some normal guy coming out here, you know, to work a normal job or on vacation with your friends trying to date women here. I think it would be a nightmare.
It really, well, I've had 3 years of experience, and I think when you're here, the men out here, it's so competitive.
Yes.
Like, everybody here's got money. Most of the guys are pretty young. They're in shape. They have some sort of status and value that you need to kind of really stand out in some way to even qualify to get a chance with these girls.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've met a few women since I've been here. One of them stands out in particular. I took her out on, I think, 6 dates before anything happened. Really beautiful girl, but also she was really nice. But women here, even if you do find a nice one, are very paranoid and very afraid. She kept saying to me, oh, well, you know, Dubai guys are all like this, or Dubai guys are all like this. I was like, I got here 3 weeks ago. Can you stop referring to me as a Dubai guy? So anyway, I don't talk to her anymore. But it was a fun 2 weeks. It was a fun 3 weeks. But yeah, the dating scene here is very complicated.
I imagine you get quite a lot of DMs at this point in time. So how would you, when you're scrolling through them all, how do you decide, okay, this is someone who I'm interested in?
Typically, it depends what I'm searching for, but typically the type of girl who's going to slide into your DMs isn't the type of girl who you're going to end up marrying. I don't think, and this might get me in some trouble, that women of good character will DM a guy out of nowhere. If a girl is, you know, they'll play little tricks. They'll follow you, like 3 of your pictures in a row, hope that you see them on the feed. But to actually physically inbox you, hey, are you in Dubai? I'd like to hang out. That's not the type of girl who, you know, you're going to end up in a long-term relationship with. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because who says you're looking for a long-term relationship? You don't always, you know, different men out here are looking for different things. If you're in Dubai and you've got money, status, you got a big Instagram, you're tagging yourself around the city and you're just here to have fun, the girls who slide into your DMs, good. Go have your fun. But yeah, just don't put any babies in them.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm always concerned about is if someone is sliding in my DM, then how many of the guys' DMs has she slid in?
Yeah. I mean, you slide into girls' DMs. How many per day? How many per week? Look, obviously, I've never inboxed anyone. But yeah, maybe once.
And I think one thing that I want to discuss is in Dubai, there's a lot of beautiful women, lots of different nationalities. And then quite a lot of them are doing some shady stuff.
Of course, yeah.
And I think some guys are aware of it, but a lot of guys, particularly me when I first moved here, I couldn't believe it. Like how many of the girls were doing
the scale of it.
These sort of side missions that were bringing in like a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think I nearly fell into a few traps sometimes, because when I came here, I was not necessarily looking to be in a relationship, but I was trying to find a good girl that I could hang out with, spend time with. And a few times I had to find out the hard way that they were actually, you know, an escort.
Hustlers, yeah.
Because a lot of them, they won't admit it straight away that that's what they do.
Yeah, but you need to have an eye for it. And now that, and when you first moved here, you were not the man you are today.
No.
And 3 years ago, I was not the man that I am today. It's just the natural progression of being a man. But you learn, now that you have some more money and some more status, you learn how to spot signs. For me, it's incredibly easy. But again, I have money. For a lot of young guys, they'll see girls in Dubai at a dinner table with 4 of their girlfriends and, you know, having fun in Dubai or whatever. They'll see them standing on some little boat. They'll see them at this beach, at this club, and they don't think anything of it. I follow the money. I add up the numbers. Girls who live luxurious lives in Dubai may well have a boyfriend or a husband. That's fine, who's got money. But they shouldn't be messaging you if they are. If a girl's messaging you, hey, I'm single, and you're like, okay, cool, you're single. And then I'll say, you know, what are you doing tonight? And they'll say, oh, I'm out for dinner. And then I see on their Instagram, it's her at Gal, and I can see the table, the physical table. And there's a steak, a lobster thermidor, and 500 grams of caviar on the table with a bottle of Dom Perignon. I'm like, okay, this girl told me she's a makeup artist. That's $4,000.
Yeah.
That's how much that cost, because I spend the same money and I go to the same places. Oh, I'm just at the club with my friends. C'est la vie, 10 bottles of Dom Perignon. Okay, that's $10,000 right there. Who's paying for that if she's single? So I think following the money is the best advice I can give to people. You know, look at their Instagram and look how expensive the things that they're doing are. I'm just here with my girlfriends. They're riding those dune buggies around the desert. They're on desert safari. I'm like, okay, that's $400, $500, $600 each. What did this girl say she did? Waitress in Italy? Like, you just have to understand that, you know, the money doesn't come from nowhere and the lifestyle doesn't come from nowhere.
The funny thing is, when they say they're with their friends, and they're not actually posting their friends half the time.
Yes,
it's always very close-up shots of the dinner, maybe a little shot from a boat.
Yep. And by all means, and there's nothing wrong with having a man take you on an expensive dinner. There really isn't. But you just have to be able to tell the difference, the nuanced differences between what they're doing. So if a girl's here on vacation and she takes a picture of a $4,000 dinner, fine. Maybe some rich man's taking her out. Maybe I took her out. Who knows? And she's posting this on her Instagram story when I'm in the bathroom. I don't know. I don't care. But if she says I'm out for dinner with friends and it's a waiter taking a picture of 4 girls, her and her 4 girlfriends who live in, I don't know, Spain, sitting at the Burj Al Arab with $11,000 worth of food on the table, I'm like, okay, somebody has said, go downstairs and eat what you want, and you 4 girls come up to the penthouse afterwards, wink, wink. That's what's happened here. And you need to be able to see those things because you have to understand the culture of, you know, how some people live in any city in the world that has money. And the culture of the women who come here. But if you don't have an eye for it, you can very easily fall into traps. Yeah. Very easily.
Do you know what I always do? So if I have any interest in someone, whether I've seen them out and about or I've seen them on social media, I will just observe them from a distance. Yeah. Not in a stalkerish way, but it is kind of a stalkerish way. And I just observe their behavior for 1 or 2 weeks on social media and just see what's the type of things that they're posting.
Of course.
So if I see that they're not really doing anything, they have no job. Maybe they're private about their work and they don't post about it. But if they're always waking up late, going to the beach, posting, you know, being at a fancy restaurant, then going to a club, and then that cycle is repeated every single day, then I'm like, oh, this girl probably isn't for me.
Yeah, things aren't free.
Yeah.
You know, I said this to a girl who I met her so she was Brazilian, and I met her in Bucharest. Strange. So she came out to the club with me in Bucharest maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And then I come out to Dubai and she's here and she goes, hi, I'm here in Dubai. So I'm like, oh, you're here in Dubai? That's interesting. I'm at this shisha lounge. Come over. She comes over. I said, what have you been up to since I saw you in Bucharest? She goes, oh, I've been in Switzerland. I'm like, okay, I get it. And I just told her, I said straight to her face, I said, look, can I ask you a question? But don't get funny about it. Don't get funny about it. I'm just going to ask you because I hung out with her in Bucharest. I hung out with her here. I don't pay for women ever. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm morally against paying for women. But I just said, are you an escort? And she went, okay, yes, I am. And I was like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah, I respect
if
that.
I go to a club or a bar or a restaurant, I'll still invite her and hang out with her. She's not going to try and charge me money. Of course, she knows me. But the fact that she just went, fine, yes, I am. She goes, how did you know? I said, Switzerland. Switzerland is the single most boring country in the world. Investment bankers go there and businessmen go there. And the thing is about the investment bankers and the businessmen who go to Switzerland, the German type, the Swiss type, is they're all incredibly boring and they all like beautiful women. But there are no beautiful women in Zurich, in Geneva. There are no clubs. There's no nightlife. There's nothing really to do there. So unless you bring your own women. So escorting is a massive thing over there. So I'm like, okay, she's Brazilian. She was in Bucharest. You know, I believed her story about visiting her friend. I didn't know. And I also didn't care at the time. But now she's here in Dubai, and in between she's been in Switzerland, immediate red flag. But the fact that she just admitted it, I was like, yeah, cool. You know, girls, if you do this, and if you do this kind of work, if you're only looking to hang out with a dude and, you know, I don't know, hang out with, you know what I mean by hang out. If he doesn't want to take you that seriously, if you're not looking to get married, he probably won't give a fuck that much, you know? So, but it's the lies and the deception that annoy me, you know?
Yeah, because we're not stupid.
Yeah, we're not stupid.
And when they just keep lying and trying to stick to their story, it's just like, come on. Like, if you're lying about this, what else are you lying about?
Exactly.
Like, if they're straight up, and I've met a few girls out here who are just straight up. From the very beginning, they tell me what they do. I actually respect that.
This is what I do, but you're young and you got a nice place and, you know, I actually like spending time with you, so I'll see you in my spare time. Like, that's cool. The lies, I was here in January. I had an operation out here at a hospital in Dubai, and I was resting up at the Address downtown hotel, and I was sitting by the pool, and this girl from Moldova, she was speaking Romanian with her friend, comes over to me and starts talking to me. Hi, how are you? I'm like, hi, how are you? And the address downtown, everyone knows downtown is where those type of girls hang out. And I knew that already. I was sitting in the pool. I had a cast on my arm. It was stupid. So this girl starts talking to me. And I said, yeah, so what do you do here? And she goes, I work in property. I'm like, okay, you work in property? Fine, cool. So we kept talking, and my hotel room was costing me $2,000 a day to sleep at that hotel. I asked this girl after about half an hour into the conversation, so where do you live? She goes, I stay at this hotel full time. And I'm like, the cheapest rooms here are like $1,000 a night. You're telling me that you spend $30,000 a month rent. Like, that just annoyed me to the point. I'm like, just at least tell me your sugar daddy pays for your hotel here and you go see him sometimes. Or tell me what the real story is. Don't tell me you work in property and then think I'm stupid enough that you could tell me that you live in this hotel. Either try to impress me and try to flex and try to show your watches and try and say all the nice things you live and tell your real job, or do neither. You know, when girls start being like, oh, and I was here and I was in the Maldives and I was in Geneva and I've got a Rolex. Oh, but I'm a makeup artist. It's like you have to pick one. You have to pick a lane and stick to it. Either be humble and pretend you haven't got the nice things, or brag about the nice things and tell us where you actually got them, because we know.
Yeah.
So
what would you say at this point in time? Are you 34 years old?
34.
34. What are you looking for now in a relationship or a woman, or are you just still kind of enjoying yourself? And
I have certainly calmed down.
Yeah.
I've certainly calmed down. And you know what? I know lots of wonderful women, and I'm not going to say their names. I'm not going to say her name, but there's a good girl in my life, but also she's very understanding. You know, I'm not looking for what I used to be looking for, which is just because I feel like I have so much potential when I put my mind to something, with anything that I want to achieve, that can't be sleeping with new women all the time. Because once I put my mind to that, it takes away the same potential energy that I need to buy myself mansions and supercars, and you know. So I don't know, man. I'd love to have more kids. I'd love to have a big family. You know, with one girl, that'd be very nice. 3 or 4 more children. But you know, you always be interviewing. You never know who you're going to meet, you know, and you never know, like the girl who walks past you in the street. If you don't talk to her, you never know if it's going to be your future wife or your future lover or your future ex-girlfriend or whatever. So you know, I like to keep my options open. It's
interesting because I think a lot of young guys, teenagers or young men, they almost have this sort of, not all of them, but some of them, quite a few of them, they have this dream of just wanting to sleep with as many girls as possible. And I think a lot of them don't understand that it's really not going to provide them with the happiness which they're looking for.
It won't.
And I don't think that they understand how draining and time consuming it is. Because I've been there before, you've been there before, we've had the hoe phase, and it's impossible to get anything done.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't give you the satisfaction that you think it does. The way I would describe it is, you know, trying to sleep with as many women as possible would be saying something like, I want to eat as much food as possible. So you're at these all-you-can-eat buffets all day long, wasting your time sitting there. But well, it's actually better to visit 3 or 4 really exquisite 5-star restaurants per week, as opposed to spending all day at the all-you-can-eat buffet. It's just better for your mind, for your body, for everything. So, you know, not to correlate women and buffets, but you get what I mean. The sleep with as many women as possible. It can be fun for a summer, but yeah, the sooner you get over it, the sooner you can concentrate on what's really important. And when you are the guy, like you or like me, and you reach a certain level, the good women will naturally find you. You don't have to spend all day chasing women.
Yeah.
You know, there are women in your inbox waiting, like at any time. So
I'm sure a lot of guys, they must have heard this before, but if you just focus on yourself, your business, your career, the women will just come eventually.
That is the truest thing in the world. But the sad part is, it's 5 years of work.
Yeah.
At least 5 years of work. And nobody wants to do the work. It's like getting into shape, as I'm sure you know. It's, you know, when guys are, you know, fat and they're like, oh, well, you get women because you're in shape. It's like, well, you could be in shape, but it's for you, it's 2 years. It's 3 years, you know? Are you willing to do that? The same is with your finances, the same with your mindset, the same with lots of things. So yeah, if you do the work, the women do naturally come to you, but it's years of work, and everyone wants a quick fix nowadays. Everyone wants a magic pill or a magic spell or a magic trick, and there are none. They don't exist.
There was definitely a point in my mid-20s where I just needed to sort my life out because I didn't have the money. I wasn't in a position where I wanted to be with my career. So I literally just hid away for almost 1 to 2 years where I just eliminated distractions and just focused on the shit which I needed to do. And surprise, surprise.
Here you are.
Yeah.
That's good advice to anybody. It is good advice to anybody. Myself and my brother too. From age maybe 24 till 27, 28, I was just essentially locked away 7 days a week, working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And everyone's like, oh, wow, you've done well. It's like, yeah, well, surprise. Like it's not a secret.
So, I mean, I've listened to pretty much every single podcast which your brother's done, Andrew. Yeah. So I feel like I know what your upbringing was like because he's obviously described it so many times. Is there anything which you would want to touch upon that's different from his story? Because I imagine everything that he went through, you were going through as well, because you two have been so tight.
Yeah, the only difference is, I guess it may have been slightly harder for him because he was the older brother. He didn't have an older brother to look up to. I did. But in the same way, with advice, with things in life, I've always had his back, especially since we've been adults. But as young kids, I always had that older brother to look up to, which is why I actually spend a lot of my time. I was going to say waste a lot of my time, but I actually spend a lot of my time answering questions and talking to young men who ask me for advice, because I was very lucky to have Andrew there. And a lot of people in this world are just growing up with no men to look up to. And I realized that, myself and my brother and guys like you have become that figure that a lot of people on the internet look up to in an age where, the masculine men are few and far between. So I spend a lot of my time trying to speak to younger men and coach younger men. But yeah, my upbringing was exactly the same as Andrew's, but slightly more difficult for him, I think.
Yeah. I think it's amazing the bond that you guys have, and you're almost setting like this perfect example of how siblings should be. They should be there for each other. They should have each other's back. And what I find crazy in today's world is there's so many like messed up families. And even a girl I was seeing in the past, she has a brother, but her brother is this drug addict who does nothing, who's just a sponge, taking everything away from the family. And I just can't believe that siblings can be that way and they can hate each other.
I find it weird that there aren't more brothers like me and Andrew. And before the internet and before me and Andrew, I guess, started getting big 5 years ago, or started traveling the world, or started meeting people, we didn't realize how unusual it was. We really didn't. We thought, okay, we're brothers. We live together. Let's work together. We're brothers. We thought that was so normal that it's shocking that I haven't met another pair of brothers like me and Andrew. And I'll openly say, and to all the people who I have met, I'm not trying to offend you, I haven't met anyone with a brother who works together as well or as perfectly as me and Andrew do. And I just find that really hard to believe. And, I try to push this on younger people as well. Not just maybe your biological brother, but even your friends, like teaming up with other men and having strong male friendships with other dudes is one of the most important things in life. Like you could, the idea of just being a complete lone wolf by yourself, I don't think is healthy. And I don't think it's the most effective way to live. So yeah,
I think it's crazy. If I had another version of me with me all the time, not saying we'd be twins, but just someone who's very similar, like God knows where I'd
think
be.
of how much more you get done. Yeah, exactly.